So let's just jump into it. So far, we've had 10 awesome lightning talks and some great breakout conversations. Again, if you're joining us new here, we have 3-minute lightning talks by 5 speakers. This particular session, session 3, is on community engaged educational programming. So community science and in community and these types of things. We'll have 3-minute lightning talks by 5 speakers. You can put questions in the chat if you'd like, and then we'll have the opportunity to go to breakout rooms to talk in detail with each of the speakers, and you're free to move from one session to the other during that time. I do encourage all of you to go to the afternoon session from 2 to 5 at the Boston Winery on Erickson Street if you can make it. It's going to be really a lot of more in-depth interaction and ability to get to know each other and start sort of planning some of our future pieces. I'm so far really excited and want to keep this going. So without further ado, I'm just assuming Annie will show up as we go here. Harley, you're first up.
Yes, let me just share my screen. Okay, let me just minimize that. All right, hello everybody. I'm Harley Monteiro. I'm with the Boston Harbor Islands National and State Park. And what I came to talk about today is a little on iNaturalist, but primarily on the City Nature Challenge, and towards the end about how educators can get their students involved. So iNaturalist, for those of you who don't know, is it's a bit of a social network for experiencing the nature around you, and learning about the species you're encountering. And the City Nature Challenge specifically is what I like to call the FIFA World Cup of iNaturalist. It's just a major event. It happens at the end of May and bleeds into the beginning of May. I mean, at the end of April and the beginning of May, and sort of it's just a major bio blitz throughout the Boston area, and it's also a worldwide event, so other cities will be participating as well. And Boston happens to be one of the always in the top echelon of participating cities in this challenge. So, first slide. A little bit about what a BioBlitz is, for those of you who are not familiar. A brief, intensive survey of biodiversity over a set area and time. This can be specific to a certain organism you're looking for, or it can be as broad as you want it to be, all plants, animals, fungi. And the City Nature Challenge really prides itself in it being as broad as possible, just getting the community out there and seeing what's around, getting the community experiencing the nature around them, and contributing to science as well. This is a little diagram about how it's sort of connecting people to it. It's both a website and a mobile app that people can use on the go and post from anywhere. And sort of once it's posted and confirmed as a species, that data can be extremely useful to science, while the individual user might in the moment not have any idea how important their finding might be. When it's all collected at the end of the day, it can definitely be a huge contribution to science, depending on what you found. And it's great in terms of the sense of community that it can build, and really connecting people to the nature that they might not realize can be right under their nose, even in a large city. Here's a little snippet of the Boston Area City Nature Challenge boundaries. Route 495 is used as sort of the western boundary of the area, goes all the way up to the North Shore and includes the Cape and Islands as well, just to sort of incorporate all the unique habitats that are featured in the greater Boston area and beyond. Some of our, just preliminary goals for this upcoming year, as a broad goal, just increasing the amount of people we're getting out into nature, participating in this event, increasing the amount of users, the amount of observations. we're trying to reach is 27,000, which may seem like a lot, but we overall are having an upward trend. So it's definitely within reach if we can get the community involved. And specifically for educators, this is a really great event for sort of engaging with students from various ages, all the way from elementary to college students, all the way into adult learning groups, and really connecting them with fostering that interest in nature. And the more you learn about the nature around you, the more interested you're going to get. And it can really participation for educators can look as simple as introducing pupils to iNaturalist and CNC and encouraging them to go out and explore on their own, or it can be as involved as physically leading them outdoors, facilitating that BioBlitz effort, aiding identifications for them, and even going in afterwards and reviewing that final data and talking about how significant their finds might have been. And I will finish with, so the Zoo New England website has great resources and also some great videos specifically for educators wanting to get their students involved. And those links are in this slide, and I can also talk about them more in the breakout room.
Awesome. Thank you, Harley. And we'll hopefully share those links on the Stone Living Lab website as well. When is the date of the BioBlitz? It's a fall, right?
It's April
Sorry.
28th
Not fall at
through
all.
May 2nd, I believe, or May 1st.
Coming right up after Earth Day is fantastic.
Yes.
Coming to opportunity to advertise that. Thank you, Harley. Rebecca.
All right, thank you. Let me just get on over here, share my slides, and get going. All right, so hi everyone, my name's Rebecca Shore. I'm the Engagement and Education Program Manager for the lab. As you might be able to tell from my voice and congestion, I'm not going to be joining the in-person session this afternoon, but really excited to share a little bit about one of our programs that we piloted last summer and is coming up again this summer. So one of our really exciting projects that we piloted is the Stone Living Lab Summer Teacher Institute, City as a Classroom. And this is something that we developed in very close partnership with one of the lab partners, the National Park Service. So you can see here our cohort from last year. We've got some of our facilitators and then our 8 participants who were Boston area school teachers who joined us last summer. So what is our Summer Teacher Institute? This is modeled after the Place-Based Boston Institute, also run with the Park Service and partners. So our institute is over the course of 5 days. We have 8 to 10. This year, we're going to have 10 teachers participating. All of the participants receive 3 graduate school credits, which is a really wonderful resource for them. It allows teachers to move up on the salary ladder, which is always important. And the Institute is entirely free. So this is a program that we want to make sure was accessible to all teachers, regardless of, whatever status they have. We know that PD is expensive, and we want to make sure anyone can participate. So there are sort of 3 pillars to this place-based institute. The first one, it's based off of the place-based learning principles developed by the National Park Service. So there are 6 principles that guide what makes an experience place-based. Grounded in place, real, empowering, collaborative, integrated, and rigorous. So we guide teachers through these principles and also demonstrate these principles throughout the Institute, where we take them around the city to different sites and engage with climate change research, as well as citizen science and other issues to allow them to experience what is place-based learning and how can they apply these principles. So we also show them various citizen science protocols that they can then bring into the classroom. And we had many teachers say that this was sort of the missing link for them, for their schools and their classrooms, of integrating science into the real world. So these are authentic protocols that are used, around the world or locally. So we've done protocols with them like Bivalve Quest. You can see one of our park rangers here showing a little bit about bivalves in Boston, iNaturalist, which you just heard about from Harley, and programs like beach profiling. So we demonstrate all kinds of protocols that they can use in their communities around their schools to bring science much more authentically into the classroom. We also work on building a network for these teachers of experts around climate change and coastal resilience. So here are two of our researchers from the Stone Living Lab, Mark Borelli on the right, and graduate assistant Brian on the left. So really having them make connections with researchers, humanizing researchers and scientists. You know, we ask them, why did you become a scientist? How did you become a scientist? And really exposing also these researchers to new audiences. You know, it's a chance for them to engage with teachers who are, you know, doing formal in classroom learning. And it's a great way to build more of that collaboration back and forth. So if you are a teacher in grades 6 through 12 and are interested in this program, want to find out more, or if you know of teachers who'd be interested, our applications are now open for our 2023 Institute. So this will run from July 24th through the 28th. Again, it's 5 days, all day long. So you can scan that QR code here or go to our website to find out more. And we're really excited to see, you know, what new learning we bring in from teachers, hear from teachers, and also how we can connect teachers more to Boston Harbor and the science that's being done in the area.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. And if you're not a teacher, but you know teachers, please let them know about this program opportunity. And if you run teacher institutes or teacher education programs, you should talk to Rebecca about sharing some of the what works and what doesn't. So there's a lot of expertise in this room and beyond. So thank you, Rebecca. Samantha, you're up next. Paladini.
All right, thank you. Can everyone see my slide, my screen?
It's
Great.
slow. Yeah, got it.
All right. Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha Paladini, and I'm the coordinator for the Climate Resilience Hub program with communities responding to extreme weather, also known as CREW. We're a young grassroots organization based in Cambridge, Massachusetts that aims to build equitable, inclusive neighborhood climate resilience through education, service, and planning. We hold 2 major events each year, our Climate Preparedness Week in September and an Interfaith Summit in May. We hold giveaways in summer and workshops at one of our hubs, providing the community with AC units, heating, and flooding kits. So a question I get asked often is—
Samantha, we're seeing your first slide. Do you want to?
Oh, yes, that's our main slide just
Okay,
for the day.
Okay.
Yes.
A question. It's not in presenter mode, just in case you want that.
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to just stop sharing and just give you the spiel, if that's all right.
Whatever you'd like.
Sorry about that. So a question I get asked often is, what is a hub? The Climate Resilience Hub program is a network of institutions that possess public spaces who are interested in helping their community prepare and respond to extreme weather events. So at the moment, we have 121 hubs all over the country, the majority of which are libraries, but we also have places of worship, community and nature centers, businesses, and universities involved in our program. And it's important to start establishing hubs in vulnerable communities to make information and extreme weather preparedness accessible. We provide pamphlets in multiple languages on a wide variety of topics such as heat waves, winter storms, and the importance of connecting with your neighbors. We also provide trainings, event partner options, and information on equitable practices and preparedness for people with disabilities. And currently we have 3 types of hubs. Our goal is to get places started as an engagement center where they're expected to hold 1 climate preparedness event a year and keep emergency weather pamphlets available. And presently we are working to support establishments if they'd like to become a relief station where we'll recognize and provide resources to help places become heating and cooling centers. If they have capacity, help them become emergency shelters. We also provide bi-monthly hub meetings, hub advisors who can reach out to hubs and talk about specific projects and would like some personal advice on things, newsletters, and digital resources to contact their emergency managers in their area. And as climate change makes extreme weather worse and less predictable, emergency services are increasingly overstressed. So CREW is reaching out to the organizations that already have established and trusted relationships with their communities and work with them to build this network of climate-aware institutions. And if your organization is interested in becoming a hub, it's a really quick and easy process. And 0 financial pressure. So please reach out to me if you have any questions, and we look forward to building climate resilience in communities 1 step at a time. And thank you so much for your time today.
Samantha, so thank you so much. And we think as ocean folks, we often think about, the water, but it's multiple stressors, and climate change crosses everything, right? And heat is one of the most impactful pieces in communities, particularly communities that have not received the resources for increasing resilience that others have. So heat, and particularly combined with flooding, extreme storm, these types of things, so important to provide resources. So thank you for that.
So I'm Heather O'Brien. I work at Eastie Farm, which is a nonprofit urban farm based in East Boston. We have 7 farming sites, including 4 school farms, 2 street side farms, and a geothermal greenhouse. We have 3 major education programs that cover everything from K to post-secondary. What I wanted to talk about today is the Climate Nature program, which is urban environmental education that's particularly tailored for the urban learner and also designed to be implemented as a school-based program. So the Climate Nature is a class that kids go to during the school day, year round. So it's not a one-off, it's not an after school. And what makes, I think, our program unique is not just that we're doing environmental education or that we're tailoring it toward an urban environment, because that's all of us here. But I think when we started this about 6 years ago, and this was co-founded by me and also Kanan Thero-Vingadam of Eastie Farm and Alex DeFranzo of Pierce Park Sailing Center, who I'm really proud to co-teach this program with. But we wanted our students to be engaged, and we thought about what that looked like. And what we do is we have a few basic rules. The first one is, I don't care what the right answer is, that anyone can Google. We could all have the right answer in 5 minutes and go home. What I really want is I want critical thinking. So what I want kids to share is what they're thinking about something. When we go into a classroom and delve into a topic, I ask a question. Instead of me professing things and showing slides and putting them on the whiteboard, I'm asking the students what they think. And I'm not asking who knows this and who's right, and let's go to the next person. But what do you think about whatever? What do you think about biodiversity, what this means? This slide here is students doing an experiment with bivalves, which are pretty prevalent on our coast as we live in a rocky shore habitat. Excuse me. And they have a vessel of seawater. They have 2 vessels of seawater. One has blue mussels in it. The other has no animals in it. The food coloring edition was a hint given to me by somebody at Woods Hole at one point. They're like, do you add, I was telling them about this great experiment I do. And they're like, do you add food coloring? And I was like, well, no. They're like, it would make it much more fun. So what they do is they do this in the morning. We do add some cooling packs to the top to keep the animals alive. And they note the changes in the water, what has proved that the animals filter feed plankton because they can't see plankton. with the naked eye, but they can see the color change in the water. And this is like a really fun experiment with a native species that they can see. You know, when I ask them who's been to a rocky shore habitat, nobody raises their hands. When I ask who's been to Parque Azul, which is what Pierce Park is known as in the East Boston neighborhood, or to Lopresti, they all have been there. So they all been to a rocky shore habitat where these animals live, which is like super exciting to them that this happens in their neighborhood. And we use the outdoor classroom as much as possible. So we are out at Belle Isle Marsh. We are out at Deer Island. We are at Eastie Farm. This is a school garden at the Bradley School. And we're doing what we call the Harvest Project that we did last year, which was art and farming with science. So the guy on the left is Gris One, and he's an artist from Colombia who came to the Bradley School and worked with the students in my program to get inspiration for an amazing mural on Faywood Avenue in East Boston. And what he took away from working with the kids is that we all need pollinators and that they're super important. So there's a mural that's heavily about pollinators, a lot about plants, a little bit about food. But it was great that this artist came and got the inspiration from the work that the kids were doing directly, and not just from what I was telling them that the kids were doing or some reflection of my work, but directly from the students. We like our program to be student-centered. There's no test, there's no quizzes. Spelling doesn't count. And if somebody is writing on the whiteboard, 90% of the time it's a student. We do like them to all get out on the harbor to think about what coastal zones are and the history of the Boston Harbor Islands, what that means. The kids usually on their own come up with what environmental justice means or what climate justice is. Here's some students where actually this was this winter and they're watering some strawberries that are growing in the geothermal greenhouse here on the left. And then on the right was a picture from the summer, and they're actually at the Sumner Street Eastie Farm location. And this is part of our Junior Farmers Summer Program in partnership with Boston Public Schools. And those kids are harvesting and tasting and identifying what type of plants. Somebody's got an allium there that it's like from the onion family. And he was like really excited that he was able to identify it, you know, without anybody telling him. Usually I let the students do that and ask what they're thinking about something. And they're usually pretty right. All sorts of amazing things happen when I pose questions instead of professing. And I want to say most of the time, the kids actually get to a point that we wanted them to come to with this. And yeah, that's about it. We cover a lot of the same things everybody's talking about. This is another school farm at the Sam Adams School, which has got the best view in the entire city. It overlooks Boston Harbor. It's high up on a hill. And these kids were actually from a YMCA after school program. My fifth graders had testing. So I went over to this program and they've all sampled. They've got Massachusetts cider made at one of our partner farms. Eastie Farm does a bunch of CSA programs and a free farmers market for the community. And all of the food that we deal with is either grown by us or grown locally. And the kids were actually really surprised when they tasted the cider and they're like, wow, miss, this tastes like apples. And they're like, we had apple juice at lunch today. And I said, what did it taste like? They're like, not this. It didn't taste like apples. And one of the kids said, yeah, the juice we had today looked like pea. And I'm like, well, what does this juice look like? They're like, it doesn't look like pea. And they were all taking it home to share with their families. And they all have a flyer for the Produce for the People program where their families could sign up to get like a free CSA share. They were pretty excited about that.
That's awesome, Heather. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Two things that come into my mind looking at your images. One is complexity, right? Complexity and curiosity.
Definitely complex and definitely curiosity.
Absolutely. That's what really engages and educates and so love it. Thank you very much.
You're
and
welcome.
I see Annie has joined the
Yay,
party.
Annie.
I can just share my screen here. It's great to be in such good company here. My name is Annie O'Connell. I just recently graduated from UMass Boston in August. And while I was there, I worked with UMass and the Stone Living Lab to run a community science program. So there were 2 projects that we did, and right now I'll just focus on the first one, which was based on beach profiling. So beaches are these, highly dynamic landscapes that change all of the time. And with sea level rise and intense storms becoming more frequent, understanding how these beaches are changing from year to year and over the course of seasons is really helpful for people making decisions about climate resiliency on our coast. So we trained volunteers to use a method called the Emery method, which is a very simple method of measuring a beach profile. So if you can imagine, it's so loud out there. If you can imagine looking at a beach from like the side view, so cutting it in half and looking at it, that slope is a profile of a beach. And as this changes, we can understand more about what's happening energy-wise. This project was a pretty big success. We got, I think, 12 beaches around Boston, something close to 170 individual profiles of information that we have graphed and made available online for people to look at and researchers to use. Our second project was based on intertidal monitoring. So if you come to my breakout rooms, I'm happy to talk about both. But the main takeaway is I think that community science is a really good tool, not only for engaging the public in matters of important scientific research, but also expanding the amount of research that can be done by a small group of researchers. If you use volunteers, you're able to be in 12 places at once. So I think that's a really cool part of it. I really love community science, and I was really happy to be involved in these projects. So eager to talk more in the breakout rooms, and sorry again for being late.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Annie.
Yeah.
And that's our 5 talks. We're going to go into breakout rooms. And again, you can jump around to whatever breakout room you'd like to talk about, whatever you want to talk about. And we'll come back at 11:54. So enjoy, and we'll see you soon. So welcome back from the breakouts. A continued strong interactions that I've continued learning through here. So thank you all so much, all the speakers, all the participants. Really a lot of just the tip of the iceberg connections being made, and would love for these to continue. I do recommend if you can make it to the 2 to 5 o'clock in-person session, we can dig in and actually start doing some identification and planning in those sessions. But if not, definitely stay in touch and keep working together on a number of areas. And whether or not you can make the 2 to 5 to 6 social hour, if you can do it, would be another great time to make connections. Again, at the Boston Winery, plenty of parking. But any reflections on the morning? Again, trying to be inclusive of people's work schedules, of timing, organization, all this stuff. So we do have this hybrid setup of the meeting that we think works pretty well. Had 15 wonderful talks and breakout sessions. Anybody have any reflections, questions, thoughts, ideas?
I'm hoping everybody makes it this afternoon, because there were so many people I would love to talk to and ask questions of.
Any other interactions besides self reliance of contacting people? I mean, I can recommend, we really need to do this, but other things that we at the Stone Living Lab or other organizationally across the group here could help facilitate. Many ideas about. I think one of the best sort of experiences is actually participating in someone else's program. Not just observing but actually, being a participant gets you to know what the participants are doing and how the program is going. So I would recommend that also, like as we cross advertise our programming, make an effort and welcome others, and then make an effort to go to, somebody else's program, and it gives you a really good in-depth look at how it goes, what the impacts are, how you're actually thinking about things as you're doing things in the whatever intertidal salt marsh, oysters, whatever it happens to be. Jack had a great idea of marsh. Oh, Susan, go ahead.
One of my takeaways is so many great things. I'm really appreciative of everything I've heard, and I'm sorry if I dominated the breakout room conversations. I will try to step back, but I am really appreciative, and I also am noticing that there's a fair amount of overlap in data collection and topics that we're covering. When you find one that works for particularly younger students, it's good to go with it. I think it would be really neat if we can make data collection from one organization match up with data collection from another organization, so that students who can't always get very far from where they're at, so they could see data from a different place and compare their own data. Because you always, no matter who you are, you're very insular. You get so familiar with what's around you and you think that's the only normal. But when you see, if we can compare data across projects, across programs, and across organizations, I think that would be really enriching for students to learn about how things are different in different places. And so it's, be nice to stick with the same protocols. But I'm one of the worst offenders because I developed my own protocols and I like mine.
And we all do. But thank you for bringing that up. That's an incredible point. Comparing and contrasting with other spaces and places and people. I always say that, looking at an alligator and a crocodile, you learn a lot more than if you look at either an alligator or a crocodile. So as long as you're looking at two instead of one, you learn a lot more about all the details. And the other point is something we're going to bring up in the afternoon. But if we can begin to increase the collective impact by sharing either metrics or data format, metadata, these types of things, I think it could be really powerful. Like I can just imagine, a map of the harbor area watershed, and then you click on the thing and you see someone's program and you see someone's data, and then you click somewhere else and then you can envision yourself there. This is like this big mastermind idea, but we're going to work on that in the afternoon. If you can make it, great. If you can't, we'll miss you, but stay in touch. And if you have any ideas at all about collaborating or other events or interactions that we can promote and help support, let me know. Thank you so much to all of the speakers and the participants this morning, and I look forward to seeing many of you in the afternoon. Yeah, go ahead, Pallavi.
Just a parting thought, because I'm one of the unfortunate ones who can't come to the afternoon session. Will there be a way for those of you missing out on it to kind of get a sense of, what kind of came out of it, so we can then follow up with?
Yeah, we're gonna write up a little report. And I'm saying that and trying to figure out how we're going to do that. But we're going to write up a little report, and then we'd put it on the Stone Living Lab website at some, I can't promise you when, not today.
Don't expect it anytime soon, but I'm glad.
Feel free to reach out and contact us at any time.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions, thoughts, comments?
There's a link to a survey, a quick little evaluation that Rebecca's put in the chat. So if you are coming to the afternoon, you'll have a chance to do that there as well. But if you're not, if you could please take that now, it would be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm asking if there's a website that links up all the different activities from science to art, et cetera, because things are scattered out, and it would be a lot more centralized information is probably what I'm getting at.
It's a good idea. I've had many efforts to try to do this. It takes a lot of effort, and there's a lot of things that move around and change and whatnot. And so this informal network is a pretty effective way of getting at that. Like if so-and-so knows the 3-7 programs that, and so it's not flat and organized, but it is actually relatively effective. So we're promoting that angle as opposed to the the other, but point well taken, and we'll do what we can.
Yeah, word of mouth is very good, as you said.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all. And hopefully we'll see many of you at the Boston Winery this afternoon. And if not, I look forward to talking to you soon. Take
Great
care.
stuff, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.